Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, and you're here with me. It's a whole new week, and let's begin. We're gonna listen to some music by my friend Stan Stewart, and he has put out an album called Dream This, and it's a wonderful album. I also got some really creative friends, some really great creative friends. I'm here with you this morning to start. It's fresh, it's early, having my coffee. I'm going to work this morning in Rotterdam. But anyway, I'm going to talk this morning a little bit about this inner shift that we do, and when we start to realize, and that we have to maybe continuously keep making that shift inside of ourselves. Have you ever asked yourself, what am I? What am I? Am I this person that is struggling in the world, that feels like not enough or not good enough or not, not funny enough, not this, not that, or, egomaniacs, maybe they feel I am this, I am valid. Well, our culture is teaching us a lot about, feeding the ego and having the ego be satisfied and, feel superior and all that stuff. But let me tell you something. What is so interesting about ourselves and for me, in my experience, is about a certain inner shift that happens. And happens when you start asking, who am I? Who am I in this world? What power do I have? What intentions do I want to create? And does anything get in my way? Say, does any person, any belief system get in my way? Or I have to do this, I have to satisfy people, I can't be selfish because it promotes my ego. It depends on what you're talking about. I think it's selfish when you start to recognize, or selfish not in the negative sense, but selfish in the positive sense of like making that inner shift, and making that inner shift in yourself that is, that you recognize that I shift the way I think. And when you do this, you start to get closer to what am I? And you realize that nobody out here in this out here experience is separate from you, because it is you. And if you make that inner shift, and you start making that inner shift in you, and realize that there is no construct that is permanent or anything, that everything is what is, and that you relate to it and how you relate to it, but what is not separate from who you are. This may sound very deep on this Monday, but it's true. Like when you make that inner shift to be good and be kind to yourself, it's not about this amazing experience that I'm positive and I'm feeling this or that. It is really true that you can make a shift. You can make a shift in yourself and recognize the power that you have in yourself to actually eliminate self-suffering or suffering. I talk about that a lot, and I feel as though it's part of our humanity and it's part of our culture to think we need to suffer to get to some place that we are lacking. But as you make this inner shift, I just realized also that I don't come from a position of lack, where I'm not feeling as though I need something to complete me, or a person, or a situation, or a job, or anything. The deliciousness of just actually asking yourself the question of who am I opens up possibilities for you to co-create with what you're experiencing in this beautiful daily activity. Now when you make this inner shift, how does it affect your daily activity? I think most of us are trying to figure out, how do I deal with my daily activity? And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Or this is labeling. This is kind of labeling. And when you make that inner shift and you start to recognize that you have a relationship with what is, which is not separate from you, you can make different implied decisions, because the more and more, it's like a muscle. You start making that inner shift and you ask yourself, what am I? Who am I? All of this stuff like that, it opened a door starts to open and you start to realize the conditioning and programming. Don't focus on the conditioning and programming, because all of that stuff is there, and perhaps is maybe, obviously in your journey, if you're experiencing, it is important so you can look back and recognize it. And that you are not that conditioning and programming and these kind of influence, big huge influence things that influence you and tell you who you are without you trying to figure out who you are actually. But when you make that inner shift in yourself and you start recognizing it and realizing it, and it's not going to change overnight. Maybe with some people it's like a miracle, it changes overnight. But the inner shift is the miracle. This is Confession Reflection by Stan Stewart. It's a beautiful album. It's for charity. Dream This, search it up on Spotify. And anyway, when you start to make that inner shift with yourself, within yourself, like, it's the most powerful thing, and it's so beautiful. And you can recognize that you can be happy, like in a state of happiness, in a state of appreciation. It's just like, appreciate everything that you are. But only if you start making that inner shift. And maybe that inner shift is called like spirituality or another path. But I think it's all beyond that. It's like all so incredibly beautiful, and that's what you are. So as you start this week, every moment's a new moment. So realize that you're not separate. Like, you're not separate from me, and I'm not separate from you, because you relate. We're relating to each other. And so everything, I believe, is the mirror. And like, everything you see is you, inside of you, somewhere. Because we're human beings and we feel all these emotions. But you can change the way you think about things, and things change. And that's like the inner shift. And when you have that inner shift happening, it's one of the most beautiful experiences one can have with themselves. And maybe some people think that is selfish, but you can't give away what you don't have, right? So if you can't give away love unless you have your own love and appreciation with yourself, and accepting everything that is what is, and then you can make a change the way you think about things. So I'm here with you this morning just to share that, because I have to remind myself, you know, every moment's a new moment. And I've been making that inner shift for a long time, and it's an awareness, because the ego can drag you down. And you know, with all of your with everything that you experience is all during the day, even if you have habits or, you know, things that you think you're controlled by or anything like that, then I think you can step back and just realize that you have more control, and just to accept all things of what is, and look at them and realize that I am none of that. That is what's happening and playing out. But I can affect change, and I can love, and I can respect, and I can have courage and be vulnerable to step up to change that, to change the way I think about things, so I can make that inner shift. So it's the best thing you can do for yourself, is making the inner shift. Make the inner shift today. I love you so much. Have a great day and enjoy your week. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.